data for the opening of the 2023 NCAA Women's Gymnastics season. We're at the Orleans Hotel Arena for an historic gymnastics event here on the Big Ten Network. Welcome to Super 16 Gymnastics, presented by Ozone. This is an unprecedented event. 16 teams competing here this weekend. The only time a collegiate gymnastics season has been opened in this fashion. 16 teams divided over 4 quad meets over 2 days. 12 of those 16 teams are ranked in the top 25 in the country, including the defending national champion Oklahoma Sooners, and 6 conferences represented, the best conferences in the country. It is going to be a fantastic competition, historic moment, not just for all of women's collegiate gymnastics, but also Fisk University puts a women's gymnastics team on the program. The first time in history a HBCU has had a women's gymnastics program. We get to see them in their inaugural event. Try to say that word 5 times really fast. It's going to be exciting to see them. I'm John Roethlisberger. I'm joined by Janae Honest, NCAA champion for UCLA. Janae, first let's talk about Fisk University. An historic moment for them, an historically black college university having a women's program for the first time. What's that mean?
Yes, this is a day for the books. Head coach Corinne Tarver, when she was reaching out to potential future athletes, she led with the statement, "Do you want to make history?" So that is what today is all about. I remember when campaigns started to bring the sport of gymnastics to HBCUs, and it's been exciting to finally see that come to fruition.
It has been quite a whirlwind to get to this point for Fisk. We'll talk about that a little bit throughout the competition. Quite a story. Great to see them, but this is a bigger competition than just Fisk. We got some great teams on the floor in this session. Washington, Southern Utah, University of North Carolina, along with Fisk. What are you excited to see?
I'm very excited, like you mentioned, Washington, but I'm also very excited to see UNC. You know, both head coaches, they're very early in their careers, but they both have been doing amazing with their programs.
Washington is the team that is ranked in the top 25 in this session, but North Carolina, Southern Utah right behind them, just outside the top 25. It is going to be a great battle between these teams to see who can come out on top in this first session of Super 16 Gymnastics. Hey, we've got a lot more surprises for you coming right around the corner. It's going to be a great day of gymnastics. Welcome back to Super 16 Gymnastics here in Las Vegas, the first session of the Super 16, and here is where the teams will start. The Washington Huskies on vault. Southern Utah will be on the uneven bars. North Carolina, they will be on balance beam. And Fisk University will get things going on the floor exercise. I told you we had some more surprises for you. We have the Ozone Coaches Corner. And in that corner, we have the head coach of the LSU Tigers for 43 years, Dee Bro. And in the other side of that corner, the coach of SUNY Lee, the Olympic all-around champion, Jess Gray. But take it away, coaches.
Well, Dee, it's here, the date every coach circles on their calendar, the first meet of the year, and we start off 2023 with a bang. This is a big meet. What do you think?
Well, it's a big meet, but it's really exciting. Fisk University has made a huge statement for Title IX to create a new program in a short amount of time. It's an incredible story, and it'll be a great program to follow. But what I want to talk about besides that is the incredible warm-ups that we watched, the energy, the enthusiasm, and the aggressive performances that we saw in the warm-up, I think indicates that these kids came to compete.
Yeah, I think what I'd be looking for, if I'm out there right now, I'd be saying to my athletes, you know, let's go big. Don't worry about your landings, worry about your takeoffs, because you got to land this. You got to make the skill first before you can land it. And it's the first meet of the year. Let's just get the nerves out, the jitters. The first rotation is going to tell us a lot.
Well, you know, that says it all. And the one thing let's remember is consistency wins. So let's do our gymnastics in our success zones.
Totally agree.
Thank you, guys. I'm looking forward to hearing from you throughout the competition. That'll be a lot of fun. Janae, they mentioned the first meet of the season. Obviously, it's a big weekend. This is a heck of a way to come out of the gate, right? But talk about that. You won an NCAA title with UCLA. What are these athletes feeling now as they enter the floor for the first time, especially in this big setting?
Kind of like how they mentioned, you know, this meet is about getting out the jitters, but it's also about peaking at the right time, right? So you really just want to keep that consistent momentum on the way up, so when it comes to championship season, you are at your best, you're keeping your bodies healthy, and that's what I also think they should focus on as well.
So the Washington Huskies in the huddle. They are the highest ranked team here in this session. They come in ranked 21 in the country in the preseason poll. We're obviously going to see a lot of them throughout the day today. Fisk University, as we mentioned, they'll start off on the floor exercise. North Carolina will be on the balance beam, and Southern Utah on the uneven bars. First gymnast to go for Fisk will be Naima Mohammed. You said you know her fairly well?
Yes, she is absolutely the sweetest. I had a chance to speak with her actually before the meet. She was all smiles, very excited, but she mentioned, you know, she was a bit nervous, but the second she finished her makeup, she was ready to go.
I always feel better when my makeup is done.
You look great.
I feel ready to go. She is actually the first NCAA gymnast to get approval to wear tights, which is partly because of her religious beliefs, and she applied for that and received it. So that is why she has the tights on.
First pass. Solid front tumbling. That was a front handspring, front full to a front flip, so that was really great. Always love a breakdown moment. Great leaps. You know, the judges are really looking for that 180 split.
The meet doesn't start until you have the wobble, I think is...
I love the wobble. That's my go-to dance, actually. Beautiful double tuck to finish that off. And you could see it all in her face. She made history right there. Look at her teammates.
And you can't see it down on the sideline, but the team is absolutely going crazy. And there you get a look. As the years go by, decades from now, there will only ever be one that did the first routine for Fisk University. And write it down. Moment. Absolutely. Naima Mohammed will be that name for the rest of time. Congratulations, and there's the head coach. There's Corinne. What is she feeling? That is an emotional moment.
I had a chance to speak with her as well, and she said, you know, we're here, and they really are just wanting to stay in the moment. They know this is a very special time for them, so they are just trying to stay in the moment.
Wow, that's awesome. Taking a deep breath, getting ready to go on the balance beam is Bree Greenlow from the University of North Carolina. They started this event off with a 9.725 from Hannah Nam in the leadoff spot.
She's looking very confident to start off as she prepares for her series. Flick lay, held onto it.
Great fight. Bree is a transfer from William and Mary after her freshman year there.
Another big save. I believe when you grab your legs, the judges are going to take a little bit more off for that.
Bree is from Gymnastics Training Center in the Atlanta area. The Pomerances do a great job down there in Georgia.
One and a half. Small hop forward, but she held on to it.
How hard are they going to hit? How hard are they going to hit her on those? Like you mentioned, grabbing her legs in this wobble. How much of a deduction can she expect?
I think that one would be closer to the 3/10 mark. And then also lifting your leg too. So there's kind of levels to those balance checks. But I will say she did put up a good fight, you know.
I personally think you lift your leg, it should be bonus. I mean, you're on one foot. You're on one foot.
Make it a pose, exactly.
It's much more difficult that way. Going over to the uneven bars, Southern Utah University. Carly McLean, one of their stars. They expect a lot out of this graduate student this season. Had a little bit of a tough year last year. But her sister is there now. They think that has helped her out a little bit, and she is raring to go to have a big year. They expect great things out of Carly. As we see the scores to start things off for Southern Utah, 9-7-2-5, 9-7-7-5. So good start scores. However, you want to compete with the big dogs. You need to turn those 9-7s into 9-8s and 9-9s quickly, right?
9-8-5 and up are like the solid numbers you're looking for. But like we said, first meets of the season, and I think those are great scores to put up.
Scotty Bowen, the head coach for Southern Utah, told me about Carly coming into the season. He said, in his words, "We'll make an assault on the record book." He expects her to really knock a lot of people's socks off this season.
Beautiful handstand. It's a great ganger. The judges are really looking for that vertical angle. Here she is prepping for her dismount. Again, great handstand. Her toes squeezed together. Double layout. Slide is hot forward, but I believe that is a step in the right direction. You know, definitely will be in the 9-8 range for her.
And they need that. Mason Bentley actually right before her in the third spot, winning 9.675. Just as a general rule in women's gymnastics, you definitely don't want to count scores in the 9-6s. And they can drop the low on each event. They count the top 5 scores. So there's 6 gymnasts that compete. You drop the low. They're going to want to drop that score that's in a 9-6. So we'll see what they do with her score. This is moments ago for Washington on the vault. This is Skylar Kilo Wilhelm. You can see the scores. Good start for the Huskies. A couple of 9-8s, a 9-7 to start that they will hope to drop.
They call Skylar Killer Whale. A solid Yurchenko full. She did have a hop and had to throw her arms up, but I think that was another solid vault for them.
995 start value for that Yurchenko full with that hop. Probably going to be in the 9-8s. You saw the scores there so far. A couple 9-8s, 9-7 for the Huskies. We're going to go back over to floor exercise. The score for Muhammad in the leadoff spot, a 9-6. Great start for them. Kaylee McDonald was in the 2 spot. She's got a 9.475. And now Zaya Coleman will be the 3rd gymnast to go.
She is a powerhouse. And she actually was a track athlete as well.
We talked to the coaches quite a bit about how this Fisk program came to be, and Corinne Wright told us a little bit about it. We talked to some other people as well. If we have time throughout the competition, we'll talk about it. But the one thing that Corinne said is they announced the program in February. They announced her as the coach in March when she immediately started recruiting, and the gymnast showed up in July.
Yes.
And so you went in basically about a 6-month window from no program to a program that needs to start training and getting ready for a collegiate season. And she said it was a whirlwind. She was recruiting athletes, and she didn't even have answers to their questions half the time because the program was just being created. And what a challenge that had to be.
It was a whirlwind, but again, I think they were just doing their best to stay present because they know this is a very big moment for them, and it's a big moment for Zaya right here.
Beautiful.
Lots of power.
It did look like she went out of bounds. It was right in front of us, which would be a 10th of a point for the foot going over the line.
So I think the goal for her will really be honing in and controlling that power, especially on the floor exercise. Beautiful leaps. There's a switch side Popa. Came up a little short. She did fight for that landing.
Great fight to stay on her feet. Easily could have put her hands down. You mentioned powerhouse, and definitely not a shortage of that.
Yes, exactly.
But
I knew
great
we were going
fight.
to see a lot of double flipping from her.
So quickly back over to vault. This is moments ago for the Huskies as well. This is Amara Cunningham. The score for Skylar Kilo Wilhelm was a 9.725, so did not break that 9.8 barrier.
Amara is very consistent and steady. That's why she's in the anchor spot. Last up, Yurchenko full. That was a great vault. Just the slightest hop back.
I got a feel if Skylar was in a 9.725, that one really feels like it's better. And there is a score, and it was a 9.8. They finished with Emma's score of a 9.675, so they'll drop that last score. Good start for Washington?
Yes, good start. Good, solid start.
Washington gets the Olympic order starting on vault. We go back over to balance beam, I believe. North Carolina scores. They've had a little trouble early. Hannah Nam started with a 9.725, which is a good start. Bree Greenlow, who we saw, had those wobbles, a 9.325. Taylor Schultz, unfortunately, in the 3 spot, a 9.15. And that is not the way Dana Durante wants her team to start. There is head coach Dana Durante in her 2nd season for the Tar Heels. And the one thing she really emphasized when I spoke with her before the competition is she's always about execution and being clean and really trying to build this program, but building it with execution first and adding difficulty late, which I don't think she's going to be happy with the execution so far, but that philosophy a good one, you think?
I do think that's a good philosophy because it is really about how you show up on the competition floor. I mean, you can bring a lot of difficulty, but if the execution isn't there, then you know, what's the point of adding maybe those extra tenths that will inevitably be taken away if you have those deductions?
Nana's daughter, Sammy Durante, was a member of the LSU Tiger team. Dee Dee would know her very well. Lolly Dekanoidze, we're waiting for her score in the judging game, which, you know, I didn't compete balance beam, which is pretty obvious, but I did pommel
You're very
horse.
lucky.
I am very lucky, and I think I would have skipped gymnastics if I had to do that. But I did pommel horse, and whenever there was a judges conference right before you went on horse, it was a lot tougher. What is she thinking right now, waiting to go on beam?
I really did. I don't know if you noticed, she was talking to her coach, and she really took a deep breath. And it's really all about calming the nerves. You really need to slow down on balance beam and really just center yourself because it is a make or break event. Elizabeth is someone that's planning to attend nursing school, which is actually very, very cool. And she is a beamer, so this is her event. So she already knows what she needs to calm herself, and that deep breath really was telling.
And they need a big score here. They want to win this session of the Super 16. They can't let it get away here in balance beam. They've already got a 9.325 that they're going to have to count. Beautiful. Lolly Dekanoidze score a 9.7, so they're still looking for their first 9.8 or above. This athlete certainly could get it.
Yes, she is someone that really leads by example. She's an incredibly hard worker. And she was also described as a quiet storm. You know, she really leads, just shows up, works hard, and that's what really inspires her teammates. And sometimes to the point in practice where you have to tell her to stop, you know, because in college it is also about, you know, keeping your body healthy. You know, you don't need the numbers and repetitions much. Beautiful full turn. You never want to underestimate that skill. Banner layout full off the side.
New dismount for her, and that is exactly what North Carolina needed. That should be their biggest score of this rotation. You can see the scores for Fisk. Zia Coleman, who we saw moments ago, 9.6.
Great first pass, combination front tumbling. That's a front layout to a front full.
This is freshman from McKinney, Texas, Liberty Mora in the 5th spot. She follows Kiara Richmond's 9.7. And correction on Zaya's score, she got a 9.3 for her routine.
And actually, like you mentioned, John, you know, everything was so quick for Fisk. I actually met Liberty in the summer when she was moving into her dorm, and it was just so very surreal for her. And I feel that regardless of how today goes, they are just so happy to be out competing and being the first ever Fisk gymnastics team. Round off double pike. Honed in on that landing, yep.
I love it. A lot of passion from that team on floor exercise. This is moments ago from Southern Utah. This is Trista Goodman in the anchor position. And we gave away the ending there. This is a big one, 9.9.
Beautiful handstand. Huge pike Jaeger. She's just such in control on the uneven bar. She has control of every, very fluid when she swings. Full pirouette, double tuck dismount, stuck that landing, and made sure to get those heels together.
There you go. Southern Utah coming out of the gate strong, a 49.05 for their first rotation of the season. And it looks like, and obviously this rotation is not quite done, but it looks like they will have the early lead after one rotation. One more gymnast here to go for Fisk University on floor exercise. That'll be Morgan Price from Lebanon, Tennessee, a freshman. I asked Corinne Wright, head coach, about, you know, who are the leaders on this team? And I brought up Morgan as a potential leader of the team, and she said, you know, it's all evolving still. They don't have any years behind them to fall back on for experience. It's everything that's happened in the last few months. So she said different athletes on different events, and that leadership role is kind of evolving over time. It's interesting.
It's going to be really exciting to see, you know, who really steps into that leadership role.
Oh, and that was a beautiful double pike.
It was beautiful in the air. Just had too much power and over-rotated. Front layout, front full. Great landing on that one. Beautiful leaps. So that moment right there, we heard a little bit of the Jackson 5. So that little heart signal that she put, beautiful 2.5, was actually from her first optional routine when she was 8 years old.
I love it. Go back to the beginning, right? That is phenomenal. Not an unfortunate start to her routine, but you can see greatness in that routine, and it's not far off.
And she finished strong.
There is head coach and athletic director, by the way, at Fisk University, Corinne Wright. Talk about two jobs. Either one of them is a full-time job. She's doing two of them. Good for her. Southern Utah, they finish the uneven bars. They will go to the balance beam. They look to be your early leaders after the first rotation of the first session of this Super 16 gymnastics competition. When we come back after the break, we will give you those results here from Las Vegas. Welcome back to Orleans Arena. We are one rotation in of this first ever Super 16 gymnastics. And after one rotation, Southern Utah University with a narrow lead over the Washington Huskies. North Carolina, a disappointing start on the balance beam there, sitting in third, and in fourth place, Fisk with that 47.55. Right now, we're going to go back to our Ozone Coaches Corner. I don't know if I get excited about this or nervous, but Dee Dee and Jess, take it away.
I'm going to start out with Fisk on floor. Ending their routines with double tucks, double pikes. I mean, they are making a huge statement. The scores don't indicate how really, really well they competed in this rotation. Balance beam, North Carolina had to count a fall in the end. And, you know, I talk about the law of holes all the time. When you find yourself in one, quit digging.
Yeah, I love it. I love the fact that that Fisk came out on the floor, and they're throwing double pike, double tuck routines. They're throwing three-pass stuff. I will say that Southern Utah did what they needed to do. It seems to me like if the bars is their thing. If they can hit bars aggressive, they're
Seeing
good.
a lot of this.
And I feel like, there's some details to work on, but they came out really strong. Now, Washington on vault, same thing, big vaults, couple little hops here, but that's the way you start off the first meet of the year.
And they warmed up a lot shaky. They competed like they want to win.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Looking forward to the next rotation.
Yes.
All right, thank you guys. Hold on while I write down. If you fall in a hole, you keep digging. You don't.
You stop digging.
You stop digging because you don't want to keep going deeper. Yeah,
get it deeper.
Got it. I'm gonna have to start a notebook about these Dee Dee-isms. I think. No, but a good first. I want your thoughts. A good first rotation for some team like you, North Carolina. Maybe a little bit of a hole to start out in. Your thoughts?
I think, kind of like I mentioned before, with that last floor routine we had to look at, she had a fall on her first pass, but she finished really strong. So I think it's leaving the rotation that you just did in the past and really looking to the next rotation and staying, in your bubble, whether it be, whatever you want to call it, but really keeping that team cohesiveness together.
I feel like in women's gymnastics, a lead is never safe until you've done beam. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, that is so true.
And that is exactly where the leaders...
I'm going to write that down.
There you go. That's where the leaders go. Southern Utah, the Thunderbirds, they go to the balance beam next. So the pressure on them now as they hold a lead of about 0.2, a little over 0.2 over the Washington Huskies. Washington there in Olympic order again. They'll be on the uneven bars. North Carolina moves to the floor exercise. Fisk will be on vault, and Southern Utah again over to the balance beam. What was your favorite event?
Bars is always my favorite event, so I'm going to go with the swingers.
The swing. There you go. I mean, there is nothing that's more fun to watch than just someone who can really swing bars. Just that beautiful fluid swing. It's like music, right?
It really is.
And speaking of which, Skylar Kilo Wilhelm will start things off for the Huskies on this event.
Issue hop to the front grip. Beautiful Pikes Jaeger, directly connected to a bail.
She has a high score on this event of a 9.925 in her career, so capable of going big, and in the leadoff spot, that could be huge.
Beautiful form, her knees and toes squeezed together, double tuck, found that landing.
That's a leadoff routine right there.
That is a leadoff.
That could be anchors for a lot of teams. That was a tremendous start.
We love a strong leadoff.
All right, jumping over to balance beam. Shailen Murakami for the Thunderbirds. Will lead things off. He's a graduate student out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Very excited to be here back in her hometown. And when she went to Southern Utah, not expecting to ever get a chance to go back to her hometown and compete collegiately, right? Because there's no collegiate teams here in Las Vegas, but a big moment for her as well as a couple others that are competing throughout this weekend that are from the Las Vegas area.
Must be nice to come home.
Absolutely.
Home crowd. Everything's, familiar. Not as scary.
Here we go.
Very unique mount. Showing off her flexibility. And also shoulder mobility as well. Series. Flick lay, right on. pitch kick to a side aerial. Again, right on the money.
This island is from Gym Cats Gymnastics Academy here in Las Vegas, well-known gymnastics club.
He goes for a dismount. That was a cartwheel gainer layout full off the side of the beam. I think they're really happy with that one.
Yeah, should be happy. How nice is that to get that first beam routine, especially on beam, to get that first one under your belt is a great feeling, right? Get that one hit.
I always think the leadoff spot is such a special place too, because it sets the tone for the rest of the rotation.
Zaya Coleman, the second gymnast to go here for Fisk on vault. Kiara Richmond led things off with a 9.525.
But notice how she flared and opened up her hips before she landed, so that's showing that she's fully able to twist that later down the line.
Absolutely looks ready to add a full to that. No lack for power. Here we go, over to floor exercise with North Carolina. Again, tough start for them on balance beam, a couple mistakes there, but now trying to get things back on track and make this interesting with Southern Utah and Washington, who are currently at the top of the standings.
Beautiful front pass. This is another powerhouse, but for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, this is Corey Shinohara, the junior from Wilmington, Massachusetts.
Notice how she got a lot of air on that tumbling. And this is actually her first year competing floor. Even those leaps were beautiful, got a lot of amplitude. Double pike.
Stayed in bounds, but just barely right on that line. The line is in, so as long as you don't go over that line, you do not incur that additional 1/10 off in deductions. Back over to the uneven bars, 9.85. It wouldn't have surprised me if that would have been a 9.9. It was that clean. Dia Moody in the 2 spot got a 9.75 for Washington. Olivia Opgard now the next gymnast to go.
Brenna.
Sorry, let's make that a quick correction. Brenna Brooks. A little bit of a lineup change. Jen Llewellyn, the head coach for the Washington Huskies in her second season. Her husband Cody there. Interesting story, actually started out as an athletic trainer when he was at Lindenwood. Is when Jen coached at Lindenwood, started that program. She needed a coach. He coached basketball and softball, and at Lindenwood everybody does everything. Talked him into helping with the gymnastics program, taught him how to coach. It worked out, and here they are, they're married and coaching the Washington Huskies.
That was a beautiful chappage. Transition to the low bar. That was a bail. Great handstand, prepping for her dismount. Double tap. Stuck that landing. Maybe a little hop.
A little hop. And that was indeed Brenna Brooks. Olivia Opgard, a 9.75 in the third spot. So a pair of 9.75s for Washington, and 9.85 in the leadoff spot as we will wait for Brenna Brooks' score. So a good start for Washington, again trying to catch Southern Utah. Started off with a 9.8 and 9.75 on beam. So a moment ago on the vault, as you see, Fisk scores through the first 3. This is Aaliyah Reed Hammond out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a freshman. Oh, there you go.
And she stuck it. It was amazing. So that was a Yurchenko full. It's out of a 9.95 start value. Oh, they are happy, elated.
That will be the highest score for Fisk so far in this competition.
Yeah, start value is also something very important to consider. So we see some of the girls twisting and some just doing a layout. A layout is an even lower start value. So the more twists you add, the higher you get bumped up to start value.
This is Xana Brewer, also a freshman out of Dallas, Texas. There's a big vault. Just needs to open that up.
Just needs to flare it out. So kind of like how we saw from Zaya, how she's able to open up her hips. That's what's going to help you hone in on that landing and take out that big step.
So back over to balance beam with Southern Utah. As I mentioned, Shylin Murakami, a 9.8 in the leadoff spot. Rachel Smith was in the second spot, a 9.725.
Excellent flip lay.
This is Ellie Cachola. She's a sophomore out of Owasso, Oklahoma, in Elite Extreme.
Beautiful combination. She did a beat jump to a standing layout step out. That is very difficult. Usually most gymnasts need to do a back handspring in front of that.
And this is a big moment for Southern Utah. Haley Vitaggio, who went right before her, 9.075. So not going to cause a whole lot of damage to the team score if they can hit the rest of the way, but the pressure is on the last 3 gymnasts.
Just a small step forward. I thought that was a beautiful beam routine.
Now quickly over to the floor exercise. Elizabeth Colton, the 4th gymnast to go for the Tar Heels.
Solid double tuck to start off the routine. Those leaps were exquisite. She really showed off her flexibility there with the switch ring. As I mentioned before, her coaches and teammates really describe her as an incredibly hard worker. Leading by example. That was a great combination pass. Front lay to a Rudy, which is a 1.5 twist.
Beautiful. And that is one thing Dana Durante says about Liz is her execution and her artistry is as good as it gets.
I agree with that statement. That was just beautiful. Breathtaking, even. So
North Carolina trying to make a move here, starting slow again on the floor exercise needs some big scores to finish. Speaking of big scores to finish, this was moments ago. Morgan Price finishing it off for Fisk on vault. That is the score, 9-9. Here is how it went down.
This ball is huge. Oh! Her feet were glued to the ground.
Two stuck vaults for Fisk University. And their first vault rotation ever, and what an exclamation point to finish that rotation.
It was great in the air. Her legs and toes were squeezed together.
Back over to the floor, Elizabeth Colton for North Carolina, 9.875. They needed that desperately. Now Kaya Forbes, Dan Durante says she is under the radar, capable of some big skills, especially this first pass. Should be a full in, back out.
Huge full in. That is when you add a full twist to a double tuck. That was a really nice middle pass. The judges are also really looking at the landings as well. Are you in control? Do you look good in the air, are you also, honing in on your landings? And those really count for the leaps as well. They really look at, are you completing the full 180 turn, or 360, I should say.
Another hit.
Did she stick that?
I'll give her a stick.
Yeah.
I'm going to give her a stick. It's the first meet of the year. You get the benefit of the doubt. So they need another big score, though. Started the rotation with a 9.725, 9.6, and a 9.575. Currently, that 9.575, the score they want to drop. Again, everyone trying to chase down Southern Utah after a great start for them on the uneven bars. But now, Elliot Cachola just got a 9.725, but I will say I looked over at beam a number of times, and Carly McLean, who is up now, has had to wait a long time to do this beam routine. I saw her get up on the mat and back down. The pressure is on. Again, big moment for Southern Utah.
And I think in those moments too, when you're really waiting a long time, those are moments where you can find things to stay out of your head and not overthink so much, especially with balance beam, because like we mentioned, it is a make or break event. She seems unfazed.
Great height on those leaps.
That is also something the judges look at when it comes to leaps and jumps. We've been talking a lot about execution. Round off 1.5. Just a bit hop forward.
But that was a great performance. Again, with that long wait, the pressure on with the fall already, the other team's chasing you down. The veteran answered, and that's what you love to see as a coach. Now back over to floor exercise. The Tar Heels saw Kaya Forbes at 9.85. Now in the anchor position, Julia Noer needs another one of those. They need scores in the 9-9 range. They want to catch the top teams.
Beautiful double pike. Almost textbook.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I could have stood there and she would have gone right over my head. the edge. She did go out. You saw the judge raise her hand, so
That will be a 10.
That 1/10 deduction, plus any landed deduction she incurred to get out of bounds are added to that. So it's up to the judge, but that is going to cost her a 10th at least.
Tuck held on to it. They may take a little bit with her chest being down.
A great routine. Not going to be the 9-9 that they might have wanted had she not gone out of bounds, but still a good finish for North Carolina. Now quickly over to balance beam. This is Aubrey Schwartz in the anchor, following that 9.75 from Carly McLean.
Jump, standing layout, step out, again a difficult combination. She handled that really well. Another difficult jump series, that was a sheep jump where she takes her eyes completely off the beam. Gainer layout full.
So in a pressure situation with a fall in the middle of that rotation, which is never a comforting feeling on the balance beam, the rest of the way they answer under pressure. Ellie, Carly, Aubrey all hit routine. So Southern Utah likely will hold on to that lead. We still need to see one more score, but we'll flush it all out when we come back for the third rotation here in Vegas.
Honda, we know you have to drive through
Las Vegas and Super 16 Gymnastics presented by Ozone. And dare I say, the highlight of not just the last rotation, but of the entire competition so far has to be Morgan Price from Fisk University on vault. We're going to see that in a moment, but right now it's the Washington Huskies with just 2/10 they need to catch the Southern Utah Thunderbirds, who maintain that slight lead. North Carolina about a point back, and Fisk University about 2 points behind them. But that vault, Morgan Price, I'm told, leads by example. And this vault, Janae, this is a heck of an example to lead your team by.
This was a spectacular vault.
We like to tease you as long as we can. Here it is. What a moment.
She brought so much power. It's great in the air. Gets great pop off the horse and nails this landing.
What does our coach's corner presented by Ozone think about that vault?
Well, actually, I was going to talk about vault right off the bat. I thought that vault was the final vault. It was huge. But it was the rest of their vaults that impressed me as well. I mean, they start off with 3 big layouts, and then they bring 3 huge fulls that look like they got some room for improvement there. They're gonna be a force.
But you know, Jess, they're staying in their success zone. They're not doing gymnastics that they can't control.
Absolutely.
And that's what this meet should be about for every single team here. Utah State went to Southern Utah. Southern Utah went to balance beam, leading this thing. They had a break early on. Everybody saw that. But did you watch the last 2 athletes put it together and give, great performances under a lot of pressure?
Yeah, they needed that. I'll say the same thing about Washington. Washington, they needed to stay on the equipment to stay in the hunt here. They did. They had a few handstand issues, a little bit of stuff, but that's how you fight.
Right.
You got to fight through this. And it's the first meet of the year. You got to fight through it.
Well, you know, Dana, North Carolina went from beam to floor, having a counter fall. Yeah. Went to floor, and did a great job just controlling their landings. They had one bad landing, but the coaches never hung their head. There was never a let out there. They just stayed with their team and continued to try to create some momentum, and that's what's going to carry them through.
It's going to help them this whole season.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Dee Dee's looking at my notes. Is she looking over my? She's checking out my notes. She's stealing all my stuff. Great job, guys.
Telepathy.
Yeah.
Thank you, coaches. As we head into the third rotation, in this rotation, North Carolina, they will go to the vault. Fisk will move to the uneven bars. Washington will move to the balance beam. Now Southern Utah, hey, they're through the bars. They are through the beam. Two of the events that, I don't know if I put this in the right way, but they're the easiest to have falls from, I feel like. And now they go to floor and vault. They're in the driver's seat, it feels like.
Driver's seat is a perfect way to describe it. You know, with floor and vault, it's really just, I mean, I feel that it's all about control with this whole entire sport, but specifically with floor. And it comes to, you know, honing in on your landings, I think, with vault and floor. That's really what we need to see in the next two rotations.
The Washington Huskies just 2/10 behind the leaders, though. They will be on the beam. The balance beam, not an event I would want to try to catch up to people on, but certainly they can do it. They've just got to eliminate the wobbles, eliminate the mistakes. North Carolina on the vault. And a vault, if you're going to close the gap too, just stick a few vault landings, right? You're going to have the high start values. There's fewer places to take deductions theoretically because it is just one skill. So could they close that gap? It's almost a point. Could they close the gap in two rotations? It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but it will be interesting. You know, it's all about the landings, like we've been saying.
Southern Utah, you can see their lineup coming up on the floor exercise. Scotty Bauman, the coach, I talked to him a bit before this competition, and he said of this team, said it might be one of the best teams that he's ever had. And in his words, he said, I think we are going to shock a lot of people. So it'll be interesting to watch. He's had some good teams in the past. One of those top 25-ish teams, a great season, maybe the top 15, you know, maybe a seeded spot for regionals, but we'll see. He's pretty optimistic. A lot of positivity coming from him as I talked before the season started.
We love a good shock and awe moment, so I will be excited to see these floor routines.
We will start things off with Aubrey Schwartz, the Ames, Iowa native out of Triad Gymnastics.
Beautiful first pass. There was a front handspring, double front full. That was great execution, great form. Say the Thunderbirds do look like they are in their zone and super focused. I love that you were moving your shoulders a little bit. Are you vibing out to this music?
If you're not dancing in your chair, you're not fully invested. Southern Utah has a busy schedule to start the season. They actually have 3 meets in 7 days, and Coach Bauman talked about rotating some of his athletes, coming out with different lineups to rest some and get them ready and just kind of pace them, especially early in the season. That many meets in a short amount of time, you don't want to sustain injuries, you don't want to wear them out early, right?
That's why depth is really important, you know. That's, you know, when you have a lot of girls and you can, you know, rest the girls that are competing in all around, because 3 meets in 7 days, that is a lot.
Kate Green has already led off vault for North Carolina, the junior. Now Corey Shinohara will be the second gymnast to go. Corey, born in Osaka, Japan, actually competed for Japan in her younger days. Also competed for Brestians, which is a well-known gymnastics club out in Massachusetts. Alicia Sacramone Quinn, one of the biggest names along with Allie Raisman, Olympians, Olympic medalists, gold medalists to come out of that gym. Well
solid
done.
Yurchenko full, yes.
Kate Green started off with a 9.7 for North Carolina. It feels like it's the point of the competition where 9.7s need to be 9.8s for them. If they want to close that gap, maybe needs a little bit of help from some of the other teams. And honestly, they're not going to get it from Southern Utah for the first gymnast, Aubrey Schwartz, a 9.85.
That's a way to start a floor rotation.
The leadoff spot. Wow. And now Ellie Cachola gets her shot.
double tuck to start it off. It's always really important to find moments to breathe in your routines because you are expending a lot of energy. Beautiful leap. That was a switch bring to switch half. She's someone that is doing great with landings in this routine. She has one pass left. I think this is going to be a good score.
Southern Utah has come to play. They are ready for the start of the season, it looks to me. Washington Huskies now just 2/10 behind Southern Utah, though, coming into this rotation. Brennan Brooks led off with a 9-7. Again, you can drop the lowest score, but if you want to compare the first two gymnasts, Southern Utah's first athlete and Washington's, Southern Utah advantage a 10.5.
She had a slight balance check on that front aerial, so the judges may take maybe a half a tenth on that. Here she goes preparing for her series. Quickly, and she will come off the beam.
So this will be the score now for Washington that they will want to drop. 5/10 of a deduction for falling off the apparatus. This will probably be a low 9. If you want to catch Southern Utah, who looks amazing on floor, you cannot count this score.
So this does mean the girls that come after her will need to hit. A little added pressure, but I don't doubt that they definitely will be able to do that. They just need to stay in their, their Huskies bubble.
Stay in their bubble. And I want to take it a step further. They don't even need to just hit. They need to eliminate wobbles. They need to start to approach perfection to close the gap. Good finish, though, after that fall. Always tough after a fall to kind of mentally get yourself back together, I would think.
So she's off center. And unfortunately, she just had to come off the beam. So this is also going to be a moment for Washington to really step up,
Fisk University, they are on the uneven bars. I believe we're waiting for Alyssa Wiggins to mount the apparatus, waiting for Coleman's score. Reed Hammond started off with an 8.4, and Coleman scored just in a 9.0 as Alyssa Wiggins now will get her chance.
Come off the bar. That skill is called a Maloney.
Didn't she go to your school? Didn't Maloney, wasn't she a Bruin?
She did in fact attend UCLA, a fellow Bruin.
Kristen Maloney, an Olympian from 2000, Olympic bronze medalist, NCAA great.
She transitioned to the low bar. That was a bail. Her legs did come apart, so the judges will take off for that as well. You need to have your legs squeezed together. Bit of form on that full pirouette, but did find the landing on that double tuck.
So now, as we mentioned, Washington had the miss from Rasan, 9.15 for her, so that is the score they will want to drop. Ellie Cachola in the 2 spot for Southern Utah, just to give you a comparison, a 9.575, so not a great score for Southern Utah. Maybe, just maybe, some hope for the Huskies here.
was actually a very difficult series. She did a side aerial to a back handspring, so a side element, and then you're going backwards. So it's 2 direction changes, and she held on to it. She was a little off balance. Morgan is an athlete who works her butt off and really is focused on that mindset of just obtaining and just doing her gymnastics, you know, letting her body, trusting her training, letting her body do what it knows how to do. And it finally clicked.
She is a Las Vegas native, and I'm told when she found out they were coming to Vegas, in her coach's words, she freaked out. Very excited. She's got a lot of her club teammates here in attendance watching her compete.
Going to be a different dismount here. She's going to swing her front leg in there. That was a front lay full.
Unique dismount.
Off the end of the beam.
Carly McLean will be the next gymnast to go here for Southern Utah. She follows Haley Voltaggio's 9.875, and Southern Utah was getting rowdy after Haley's floor routine. She had a rocking choreography, and she nailed it. So a bit of momentum here.
Huge pull in. Again, that's adding a full twist to a double tuck. Her chest was a little down, but she held on to that landing. Round off 1.5, front lay. Great control on that landing as well. When I was competing, you know, I looked forward to those slower moments in my routine because then you can really catch your breath before the beat picks back up.
That would make sense.
Double tuck, stays in bounds.
Bounced out of that last pass, and we had a good angle of it. It looked like she was going to flirt with that line, but stayed in comfortably. So Morgan Bowles a 9.675. Now Lana Navarro. From Laverne, California. Coaches said she had a little bit of a slow start to the preseason in the fall. You know, between that freshman year and sophomore year, you have to kind of learn how to train yourself again. You're not part of that club program anymore. And a lot of times you can be training on your own some of that summer. And a bit of an adjustment, but starting to find her stride.
Triple series. That was a back handspring layout step out. And yeah, that just there's so much truth to what you said. You know, going from club to college, you know, you're not doing as many numbers. You know, your body doesn't quite bounce back as fast as it did, you know, when you were 12 years old. You know, I had a chance to speak to Jen, and she just described Lana as just so much fun. She's such a gamer. Her natural instinct to just compete and go out there and do what she knows how to do, work the crowd. 1.5. Nailed that landing.
They needed that one. They have that 9.15 they want to drop, and a 9.675 they're going to have to count. Meanwhile, Southern Utah on the floor exercise Voltaggio a 9.875, as we mentioned, and Carly McLean, who just went a 9.85. Lana Navarro, who we just saw on beams, she said she does have one superstition, and she said there's only one person that can do my hair before a competition, and it's her teammate, Dia Moody. Do you have a superstition?
I don't think I did. Really?
My superstition was to not have any superstitions.
Okay.
Because then it would mess with my
That
mind.
makes total sense.
Let's get back to business. Emma Ingracia for Southern Utah now.
Punch front, straight through the double pike.
She did step out of bounds. We saw the judge's hand go up, unfortunately.
Another Jackson 5 moment. Oh, I love the throwbacks.
And you can see
and the friends clap.
Yeah, and you can see a little bit of it. The whole team, whether they're on the podium or standing down around it, all doing the routine with her.
I'd say the only thing with that routine was just stepping out of bounds. Everything else looked great. We'll see what the judges think.
Her team agrees as they come onto the floor to congratulate her. Now back over to balance beam as the Washington Huskies again trying to close that 2/10 gap. But unfortunately, it seems to be growing with 2 gymnasts yet to go. This is Kennedy Davis following Alana Navarro's 9.825. These last couple routines absolutely need to be over a 9.8 and push that 9.9 number.
Looking strong and sturdy. Triple series. She knew exactly where to put her arms to recenter herself.
So to give you an idea what she needs to do, Emma Ingracia for Southern Utah, 9.675 for that floor routine, so needs to be higher than that, and you will close the gap slightly. Oh, and a big hop. I felt like it was there, but that was
the
a
routine they
huge.
needed, yes, but that huge. That's probably about, I would say, a 3/10 hop.
Well, she took the hop and then she kind of stepped out
Stumbled
of that.
a little
so
bit, yeah.
you don't want to leave that gray area for the judges because they love to dull their pencils, as I like to
Love
say.
a subjective sport, you know.
Let's get back over to the floor because I think we got the dance party continuing with Rachel Smith.
Well, that was a little more intricate first pass. She did a whip double back, so she did not put her hands on the ground before her double flip. The chest was a little bit down, but the Thunderbirds, they're fighting. Get the crowd involved. Rudy to a split jump.
So Southern Utah, again, finishes with a hit. They didn't have huge scores throughout. Did have that 9.575 and 9.675. They will have to count that latter one, but when you're looking at the comparison with them and Washington and North Carolina in particular, looks like they might extend that lead, though. Skylar Kilo Wilhelm for Washington might have something to say about it. Her coach has said on this event, she is capable of a 10.
Yes, this is an athlete who has been focused on improving her performance quality. She was a little off balance there. She meant to connect that into her series right here. That was right on.
As a gymnast on beam, when you break a connection like that, is there a place in your routine that the coach will tell you, hey, if you do break that connection, do this to make up that bonus?
Yeah, that is something that they discussed beforehand, so they don't lose any, start value deductions or anything like that, to make sure that they will start from a 10. Beautiful front toss to a beat jump.
She's an all Pac-12 gymnast on this event in 2022.
Yes, this girl is ridiculously talented. Excellent leaps.
At the end of the 2022 season, the regular season, she ranked 22nd in the country in the all-around. So as you mentioned, solid on all the events.
Side aerial,
There you
1.5
go.
dismount, and found that landing. Jen's happy with it.
And that is going to be a big number. Kennedy Davis right before her, a 9.75. It feels like a 9.9. But as I've learned, it doesn't matter what I think. Unfortunately. So that will do it for the Washington Huskies.
Maybe the telepathy you had from Dee Dee will transpire to the judges.
There you go. Rachel Smith on floor exercise for Southern Utah. She finished there with a 9.7. North Carolina on the vault. They had all 9.7s or better for their counting scores. We're going to tally all the team totals, see where Washington falls in after that Skylar Kilo Wilhelm balance beam routine. Three rotations into this Super 16 gymnastics presented by Ozone. You ever been to the Eiffel Tower? I need to go check that out. Before we left, we saw one of the best performances of the night. Skylar Kilo Wilhelm trying to give the Washington Huskies a chance.
Skylar has really come into her own. Just ridiculously talented.
That's how you want to finish a routine, and that routine, a 9.9, keeping it close with Southern Utah just 0.3 behind the leaders. The Thunderbirds about a point behind is North Carolina, and then Fisk with a 141.5. Again, Fisk University, their first ever performance in collegiate women's gymnastics. They've done outstanding so far. And of course, this is the point of the competition where we'd like to go to the Ozone Coaches Corner, and let's hear from Dee Dee and Jess. Take it away, guys.
You know, the thing right now that I'm looking for in these coaches is momentum. We watched Washington do beam. That third spot in the lineup is critical. It supports the end, and they had a mistake early in their lineup, and they began to put it together. They built momentum from 3 to 4 and then knocked it out of the ballpark with their sixth competitor. That's momentum. We'll see if the coach and the team can take that to floor.
Yeah, I think that's the key right now. You got one more event. You've got 3 under your belt, and there's no more nerves now. You kind of got, that's all gone. You obviously, we're still seeing like some working on their landings and stuff like that, but like let's put together 6 routines and see if we can break out, like for Southern Utah, let's see if we can break at 196. They need a 49.2 on, and so they need to go at 985, pretty consistent.
But you know, we don't want them to look at the scores. We don't want the team.
No, the coaches should be.
But the coaches need to be looking at the score. But I'm going to say,
you. I'm looking at the scores,
and both of these teams are carrying momentum with them, and that's a powerful energizer.
Yeah, I would say, and I'm going to say the same thing. Like with Fisk, Fisk had a couple falls on bars, but bars, like they're always the last to come together. Bars is going to be. They have big skills. They weren't unsafe landings. They're just they had a couple mistakes, but they're going to come together.
You know, Jess, and you know this age group coach that you are. The gyms that do the great bar work and you recruiting in those gyms, you see it at this level.
Yeah.
And Fisk, they've got some work to do on that event, but I am so impressed with what Corinne has done with a group of kids that just came together like in the final hour.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dee Dee. Thanks, Jess. Great stuff, as always. In this 4th and final rotation, Southern Utah will be going to vault. North Carolina goes to the bars. Fisk will be on balance beam. Washington on the floor exercise. So the top 2 teams, Washington and Southern Utah, they feel like it's their meet to win. They're going to be on the 2 leg events. Is it going to come down to a stick contest between these 2?
I think, no, it definitely is a stick contest, and I feel that we're going to see them pushing to fight for those landings, and it's going to feel like back to back. So we'll see. 3/10.
3/10.
3/10.
3/10 to work with.
Okay.
I talked to Terica Cromartie. She is the mom of Jordan Cromartie, who is on the Fisk gymnastics team, about this development of the Fisk program. And it was a pretty interesting story because Jordan's uncle, who is part of the board of trustees for Fisk University, had asked Jordan, said, where are you going to go to college? And she named a bunch of colleges, and none of them were HBCUs. And he said, why not an HBCU? And she said, well, I want to continue my gymnastics program, my gymnastics career. And lo and behold, that's at the same time that Terica and others like Umi Salim Beasley from Rutgers were trying to advance the sport to an HBCU. And her uncle's like, we need to make this happen along with others, and because of that momentum and a little bit because of that moment, I feel like it happened, and it's a pretty unique story. So
it's really cool to see that they don't have to choose anymore, whether they want to go to an HBCU or continue their gymnastics career, because there are many alumni here that went to Fisk that had to leave gymnastics behind,
Absolutely, and we saw while I was very long-winded there, Haley Vitaggio start things off for Southern Utah in vault. Now quickly we're going to go to floor exercise with Skylar Kilo Wilhelm. We saw that 9-9 on beam. She doesn't get much time to rest, does she? Here she is leading off on floor. Talked about the superstitions with the Washington Huskies a little bit in the last rotation, and Skylar says she doesn't have one in particular, but she says she does feel extra power when she has Chipotle before a meet. And so far, this floor team looks like you feel the same way.
Extra power after a Chipotle bowl. Did she?
She didn't specify.
Specify? Okay, no. I would love to know.
The leadoff for Southern Utah on vault, a 9.7 for Voltaggio. Again, 0.3 is the difference, so we'll compare score per score.
Skylar is doing a great job on floor right now. All of her landings have been in check. Combination pass. She stays in. That was beautiful. And you'll notice sometimes they'll choreograph dance right after, so you can dance out of the corner to get out and away from that line so you're not flirting with it.
Now Ellie Cachola for Southern Utah follows at 9-7. What do you think?
I think it was good. It was a good vault. She did step to the side a little bit. You notice that they have lines now at these college meets, so that's also what the judges are looking at. Form is good. She's happy with it.
So we'll see if that'll build on that 9-7. Skylar Kilo Wilhelm felt like a better than a 9-7. So in theory, obviously they need to drop a score. Looks like Washington maybe will pick up a little something after one, and they do. Skylar Kilo Wilhelm, a 9-8. So 1/10 advantage for Washington. Emily Innes will be the second gymnast to go. There is that 9-8. Emily is a freshman from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh all the way over to the University of Washington is quite a journey.
Trek, yeah.
That is a trek. Coach Jen describes her as small but mighty and springy, and we're about to see why here in a moment. We're not sure what's going on. The judges are slowing things down a little bit. The score's in for Skylar, so it could be a keypad malfunction or something as we wait. Meanwhile, Cachola on vault for Southern Utah, a 9.775. So again, Emily Innes here, better than a 9.775. Will further close that gap with the leader, Southern Utah. Meanwhile, North Carolina on the uneven bars, 9.7 and 9.725 for their first two athletes. Still waiting for the first score to come in for Fisk on the balance beam.
There's the flag. I think that was good. She was keeping a smile while she was waiting,
You think it was a real smile or was she faking it?
Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it,
I like that.
of a stumble out of that double front full. The judges can take a couple tenths for that. Up 1.5 front lay. That was solid. She's gonna go right back into that corner and set up for her last pass. It's a nice Rudy. Great landing. So really the only deduction I would say is on that first pass.
A little stumble.
Yeah, her legs kind of buckled.
Now Caitlin Coe for Southern Utah, 9.75 for Carly McLean. So they have not broken a 9.8 yet with 3 gymnasts to go. Oh! Tough 10 ball, a little awkward on the landing. Both of us jumped out of our seats just a little.
Still tense, but yes, that was a 1.5, so that is a 10.0 start value. Her legs were a little loose in the air, so the judges will take off for that. You'll see here.
Watch this landing. It looks a little stiff-legged.
A little bent.
Right there.
And yeah, her knee definitely looked like it hyperextended there.
She
looks okay.
Yeah, she looks fine, but
that's when you really got to be careful, especially on those blind landings.
Absolutely. Aaliyah Reed-Hammond, now the second gymnast to go for Fisk on the balance beam. Alyssa Wiggins, a 9.225 is slow.
She's
slow
been waiting
judging.
for a minute, yeah.
It's a slow-moving process here on beam, which is unfortunate. She has been waiting, as you mentioned, Janae. Not a fun event to wait on, I'll tell you that.
It truly isn't.
Emily Innes, a 9.575 for that floor routine. A little lower maybe than you thought?
The floor was...
For Emily Innes on floor exercise, 9.575. She did have that little stumble on her mount.
I was going to say that stumble was, I would say, would be about 2 to 3 tenths. But yeah, so that was kind of around the range I was expecting.
Here we go with Reed-Hammond on balance beam finally.
Back handspring. She did have to turn her hips to the side, but she covered that up very well. She had to reset. Hitch kick to her side aerial. Saved it. Her chest did come pretty low, so the judges will deduct, but she is very strong up there. Gainer layout full off the side. She did have to wait. What almost felt, I don't know.
An eternity.
Like it was eternity, yeah.
To get on beam, too, I just can't express enough how I think that would be just the worst event to have to wait on. Now back over to floor exercise. As we mentioned, Emily Innes, a 9.575 for her routine. They will not want to count that score if they have any hope of catching Southern Utah, who's putting up some big numbers now with their last gymnast on vault. This is Lana Navarro. Beautiful.
Beautiful double tuck, yep. Right on the money. Oh, I like this music. Great leaps. Now, to me, that was an excellent routine.
Very well done. And it's going to have to be because the last 3 gymnasts for Southern Utah, 9.8, 9.85, and 9.775. So they will count 3 scores in the 9.7s, but they have 2 scores, 9.8 or better. Keep in mind, Emily Anderson, 9.575 for Washington. They will want to drop that score. They're waiting for 4 more scores from Washington. They are going to have to be 9.8 or better, maybe 9.9s in my opinion, to catch the Thunderbirds, as we see an unfortunate fall from Beam. This is Brianna Daniels, the 3rd gymnast to go for Fisk. 9.35 for Reed Hammond right before her.
So she did come off the beam again, so that's now a full point. That will be taken from her score. Beautiful leaps. She's really focused on hitting that 180. Very unique skill that was. That was a cartwheel and she switched her landing leg. Here she goes, ready to go for a dismount. Gainer pike off the end of the beam.
Back over to floor exercise now. Hadley Roberts follows a 9.875 for Lana Navarro, so that is exactly what they need. 3 gymnasts to go now. Southern Utah is done. They still have a chance, do the Huskies.
You know, when asking Jen what her core focus is for this team, you know, it's really all about building confidence and maintaining a strong level of that throughout the season. She really wants her athletes to believe in their capabilities because they are indeed amazing athletes. Here she goes for her last pass. Double pike. Holds on to it.
That's going to be another big score. Hadley Roberts was coached at Lindenwood for 3 years by Coach Jen before she made the move to Washington with her head coach from Lindenwood. And Jen said she's very happy to have her over there with her. Really brings that gratitude and humbleness. Competed in the Division II program and now big Division I program. It gives you a lot of perspective, certainly. Kiara Richmond, the 4th gymnast to go. Brianna Daniels, a 7.925. Obviously, quite a few mistakes in that routine, unfortunately.
Flick lay, very solid. Side aerial. That was a great save. She really fought hard to stay on the beam. Prepping for her dismount. Round off 1.5. Great landing. And I think that's a way you come back after, you know, having quite a bit of a rocky beam rotation.
And that's hard in gymnastics. You know, you get momentum, and even though it's an individual sport put together as a team sport, you still have momentum, right? You go up after hits, and it starts to build on each other, and falls have that opposite effect, wouldn't you say?
I completely agree. So she handled that very well.
So Mara Cunningham now the 5th gymnast to go for Washington on floor exercise. Hadley Roberts a 9.775, so doesn't break that 9.8 barrier. And I was just doing some very quick math, and I stopped taking math in 3rd grade, so I'm not very good at it. But my quick math tells me a couple of 9.9s from Amara Cunningham and Kennedy Davis, the last 2 Huskies to go, and it is going to be razor thin. That might be enough. We'll see.
Punch front, through to double tuck. Nailed that landing. Ready to strut it out. Amara is awesome. The coaches absolutely adore her. And she's really worked on that leadership role this year. Excellent leaps. Again, like you said, it's razor thin, so it really comes down to every single skill, not just the tumbling. Who doesn't love Missy Elliott? Double pike. Nails it.
I tell you what, it's getting closer. That was a big routine. It feels like a 9, high 9.8 at the very least, maybe a 9.9. That one is in the judge's hand. Now Morgan Price, we saw her huge 9.9 on vault. 5th gymnast to go here on balance beam, following Kiara Richmond's 9.275.
She is killing it today. Front area a little off balance, but she's going to go ahead and do her series. She unfortunately was off balance, so she had to come off the beam. Stunning leaps. Again, like I've mentioned before, the judges are really looking for that 180 side aerial. Dismount, round off 1.5, and sticks that landing.
Their head coach, Corinne Wright, I'm pretty sure has not left that smile off her face this entire competition. Every time I look over, she has got
Beaming.
that big grin. There you go, Amara Cunningham, a 9.9, and that leaves 1. And that 1 is Kennedy Davis. She's a redshirt senior from Blue Springs, Missouri. Big moment early in the season, the first competition of the season, coming down to the last routine. It doesn't get any better than that. Oh, and a big break.
Oh my.
Was supposed to connect a salto to that opening pass, and not only that, she goes out of bounds. And again, just quickly looking at the numbers, I do believe a 9.9 would have, I should say, been enough to win this meet, but I don't know if that's possible at this point. Obviously, a 10 for going out of bounds, and I don't know what that's going to do to her start value.
Yeah. Seems to be okay.
And that is unfortunate. Looks like she's not sure what happened. She has a smile on her face, but that last landing looked like it
did look scary.
May have hurt a little bit, and she seems to be fine. Now quickly back over to balance, being the last gymnast to go here in this first session of the Super 16. This is Liberty Mora.
Front aerial to back tuck. She fights for it. Side semi. Right on. Beautiful leap connection. Like I mentioned, a sheep jump is when you're completely taking your eyes off the beam. Pitch kick, gainer layout, full.
Wow. Congratulations to Fisk University in their first ever women's collegiate gymnastics competition. And what a competition it was at the top between Southern Utah and Washington. We'll get things settled when we come back. Well, it ended up being an exciting finish to this first quad meet of the weekend. But it is the Southern Utah Thunderbirds. They get the win over the Washington Huskies. North Carolina, they end up in the third spot, and Fisk University finishes in fourth. Down to the Ozone Coaches Corner. Dee Jess?
Wow, this is awesome. What a great meet. Right to the end. First one, Scott Bauman's here. Congratulations. Way to bring it. You needed it on vault. Way to bring it in.
Well, Washington brought it, but let me tell you, the other team that was here that did it made a huge statement. That vault was outstanding. Outstanding.
Well, congratulations to all those teams that did outstanding. Congratulations to Fisk on their inaugural competition. And, of course, to the Southern Utah Thunderbirds for getting the win here in this first session. For Janae Honest, Dee Bro, Jess Grava, I am John Roethlisberger. So long from Orleans Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and the first quad meet of this Super 16. And congratulations to the Southern Utah University Thunderbirds. They get the win. Quick comment from you, Janae.
I think all the teams did a great job. Like you mentioned, this is the first, meet of the season. Fisk, I'm so very proud of them, and I'm just excited for the rest of the season.
Well, it was a good one. It was a great start to the weekend. A lot more gymnastics to come. Here is your next one. Georgia, Oregon State, Rutgers, and Stanford later this evening. That will be the second quad meet of this competition, 11 Eastern time. You won't want to miss that one. Thank you, everybody, and so long from Las Vegas and the Orleans Arena, and congratulations to the Thunderbirds on the win.